This is a Wild Game Production podcast.
I'm back, and I'm better than ever
The Roll for Initiative podcast, Volume 7, Issue 194. We are back. Back with a brand new show. This is Vince. I'm sitting alongside Nick.
Hey, everybody.
Matt.
Hello, everyone.
And Crispy.
Howdy doody.
New show. We're back. Yeah, we had a little hiatus. You know, things happen. Sometimes you need a little time to recharge the old batteries, but, you know, it happens. It's life.
Get our mana up.
That's right. First things first, we want to congratulate the big Crisper over here who's taken the reins over for Save or Die as the new frontrunner. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, man. I'm super excited. It's going to be great because I have not played basic D&D in a while, and I've kind of fallen out of it. So a lot of it's going to be rediscovering stuff and getting that passion back.
Yeah, definitely. We look forward to your first show that you had. Was it 139? Right. Yeah. Yeah. Adventure 139. It was very good, full of a lot of good history and backstory. And you and your co-host Carl really went to town on that show to like step it up 7 notches compared to what it used to be.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to be trying to do. It's going to be once monthly, so we'll have a lot of time to actually do research. And Carl is super great at that. Like a lot of the resources that we went into, he actually keyed me onto.
Oh, cool.
And it was great to have him as a research partner.
Well, good. You're bringing back the good name of Sod and harking back to the days when Professor Mike was on there and spouting out his goodness of history and lore and everything. So I think it was kind of missed, but people can enjoy it again.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Enough about you. No. Crispy will still be on the show.
Crispy Show.
It's the Crispy Show. Did we do that in the past? The Crispy Show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And people vomited.
Yes. That one person that writes in is going to vomit now that you know that's here on Save or Die. So.
Whatever, Steve. I think that was his name. I'm not sure.
If that's your real name.
Yeah. Yeah. So we look forward to hearing what Crispy's got once a month, hopefully maybe more. We'll see what happens. Crispy is a very busy man.
Yeah.
He's a man about town. Yes.
So, Nick, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Oh my gosh. I haven't really been doing a whole lot of regular gaming. There's been some real life issues that's come up within our group.
Oh.
So I don't want to get into too many details, but some life-changing stuff. So giving my friend Jeff the time he needs, deal with those sorts of things, and that's great. But we did go to Origins, which
we'll
was
talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, but we did go and had a good time.
Good.
The only thing I can say about right now is it was busy, and so much so that we had to stay at a bed and breakfast. So couldn't get a regular hotel room. They filled up fast, but that was fun. And I think we're going to be actually getting back officially into our gaming group here to probably next month in September, once things get a little bit more settled down. But other than that, I've been playing a lot of online gaming.
Yeah. Are you playing like on Roll20 or something, or just like video?
Actually, no. Yeah, video games. I've been playing World of Tanks a lot.
I saw you playing that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing that a lot. Yeah, that's my latest obsession. With
that new fangled laptop you got, it must be great now.
Yeah, it's shiny. Well, it's actually black, but it's new, and I've been enjoying that and frustrating at times, but it's fun, something to pass the time, and it keeps me out of the wife's hair. So,
hey, whatever works, right?
Whatever works. Yeah. But other than that, not a whole lot.
Oh, cool. So I've been playing various games here and there, some 1E games, and I'm actually been playing some 5E games. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I've been involved. My little paws have been involved with 5E since the test, since we did that one episode.
Oh, wow.
And Crispy was involved in that, I believe.
Yeah, the one where you got told, you're not supposed to post this.
Yeah. I don't know. But Crispy was involved, I believe, in that play test with me. his microphone is muted right now. So if he's talking, he's not able to say anything. So
yeah, I was typing something, but I don't remember this.
Yeah, I think we did a playtest that you were involved with.
Maybe.
And that's back when we got our hands slapped because we weren't supposed to post it. Whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
So during the playtest, the like blanket NDA for the biggest RPG on the planet. Sure, let's try to sweep all that under the rug.
Yeah, no big deal.
So I've been involved since then and just kind of kept my nose in it. And I was like, when it came out, I'm like, you know what? I'll just take the plunge. And I really liked it. So whatever. I'll just go with it.
Well, I know that, 5th edition is like, I know it's very, you can modify it, manipulate any which way you want. So that's a redeeming factor.
There's some things that give me a big headache in it, but overall, it's a really smooth game. There's a lot you can modify to make it like 1E, so that's why I really like it. Only thing that always drives me up the wall is the initiative system, and I need to fix that. That's the only complaint I really have. I hate individual initiatives.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, the rules for side-based initiative are in the DMG.
Oh, yeah, but most people are like, I don't like the rule.
Yeah.
I have 95 bonuses to my initiative, so I have to have it.
I find that people born after 1985 have a weird time wrapping their head around side-based initiative. But it's like, no, like, you go, I go, and then we roll again, and then you guys might get to go twice in a row. So really, it's good for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But enough about me. Let's talk a little bit about Matt, because Matt has been actively running around everywhere. He did that one show for us where he was driving in a car on his way to Origins.
Yes, an hour 42 by myself. So if anyone actually made that through it, I'm sorry. But I went to Origins, and I have to confess, I did cheat on RFI with another podcast.
J'accuse.
Yes, if you listen to the Dice Towers Origins live show, I actually made it on stage during their game show portion and won a fabulous prize chosen especially for me. So, if any board listeners, it was that large Dice Tower die. Actually, nothing that fabulous. But hey, I got on stage and they had about like 300 or so people in one of the halls there at Origins for their show, and they're doing one at Gen Con. They have like 1,500 tickets that's almost sold out. So it's a thing.
That's like the board game review show on
right? Yeah, with Tom Vassell and Eric Summers. Yep. So,
yeah, that is a good show. I've seen that in the past. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, if you listen to Origins, I'm the Matt from Cincinnati at the very end that made on stage. I should have worked in a cheap plug for RFI, but didn't.
Way to go, Matt!
I failed. I failed the podcast in front of a large audience of target market for us. I failed to plug RFI, so I will hang my head in shame.
I can't believe you've done this.
Yes.
So we're going to be Volume 8 real soon because we just fired Matt.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But when I was there at Origins, Wizards of the Coast actually had quite a bit of a presence compared to...
Yes, they did. I agree.
Yeah, and I sat in several panels that they did. I sat in one. It was Chris Lindsay talking about the DMs Guild and the Adventurers League. And the big thing for me coming out of that one was, if you want to kind of get noticed by Wizards of the Coast, they want you to actually make this stuff in the DMs Guild and sell it. So because if you make a product and it sells well, they pay attention to that. And what they're starting to do is when they have a new product coming out, they're going to contact people that have made good stuff on the Adventurers Guild and be like, we're sending you an early copy of the book. We want you to make something for it that can be released on the DMs Guild same day as the book is released. So basically same day DLC for your books. That's exactly how he worded it. Same day DLC.
I wish they would allow the DMs Guild to do like previous editions as well.
Right.
I know it's only for 5th, but I wish they would be like, hey, it's blanketed for all editions.
Yeah, the reason they're not letting people do that is because they're really trying to avoid the fragmentation. Because even with 4th edition, like some of the prior editions, when it came to like their RPGA stuff, like in 3rd, RPGA was in Greyhawk, but all the books were Forgotten Realms. What? Yeah. So they're trying to avoid that fragmentation.
But everything now is in Forgotten Realms. So.
Right. And they're talking about expanding into more places over time because people were bugging them about, what about Plane Chased? What about Birthright? And so,
yeah, what about Birthright?
Nobody cares about Birthright. Shut up.
So they've not ruled out any of it, albeit you may not. I don't think they're too receptive to Hamsters in Space and Spelljammer. But
what's wrong with
Celtic
that?
Highlander rules? Give me Birthright. Mike Merles, please.
Right.
No.
So, but yeah.
I did actually speak to Mike Merles on Twitter for a little bit, and I asked him, was there going to be anything for 5th edition that's going to harken back to the old Immortals box set by Menser? And he said briefly, in a very cryptic statement, there's something in the works.
Right.
So I don't know what he's up to.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because, like, the way they're doing it now, they use epic boons.
Yeah.
Anyways, this isn't a 5th edition podcast.
But also, what they're doing is the products people make on the DM's Guild is helping shape what they actually release. When the DM's Guild they saw all these character classes, all this, hence why they're releasing the Xanthar's Guide to everything. It's nothing but a player's book. They saw, hey, players are making all this stuff. We probably should too. So basically, in some days, we're doing the R&D work for them. Same with Unearthed Arcana. That's basically a play test. And if stuff goes well and when they release it in Unearthed Arcana, it'll show up in a book.
So they're finding new and interesting ways of putting out product and the community doing all the research and work for them.
Yes.
Yeah. Their team is only 24 people on Dungeons and Dragons. 24 people. It's really small.
That's it?
Yes.
Yeah, they've really fired a lot of people.
Right.
Wow.
It's like the guys that got me in the private play test for 5th, are no longer with the company.
Wow.
So they, So it's a small group. So that's why they're putting so much stuff out there for the community to play with, because and that's also why the books are not being released as frequently as they have in the past. It's like once every 3-4 months. So that way everyone can buy every book and the entire.
But then again, it's kind of like it almost harkens back to the original days of TSR. It wasn't like a ginormous group when they started, and most of it was community driven.
Right.
So I guess I could see
until Lorraine took over.
Yeah. Well.
Right.
We won't. I could use
then it became
expletive deleteds about her, but I won't.
$$R became at that point.
Yeah. Well.
Like Kesha.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. If you did back in the days of bulletin boards and Usenet, if you made something like a fan made module for D&D and shared it, you would get sued.
They'd hunt you down.
They'd hunt you down, shut it down, give you a cease and desist, and possibly threaten to sue you because you made your own material online.
Yeah.
Be like Liam Neeson in Taken. I don't know who you are.
Right.
I'm going to find you. I'm going to hunt you.
It was pretty bad on AOL at one point. I remember people releasing stuff and then like instantly be pulled down by AOL saying violated terms of service. It was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
She was real bad.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, but and also what I found interesting, the concept of letting players use the IP to make their own stuff has been in the works since 2010.
Well, yeah, that was originally for 4E. They were going to do that.
Right. It was originally, but that's only like 2 years after they pulled all their PDFs and everything offline because of the 4th edition.
4th edition last 3 years?
4 years from 2008 to 2012, I believe.
Yeah,
this edition came out 2012, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
No, it was like there was like a dead year period and that was 2013 because I'm trying to remember when I was doing the play test. I think it was like 2013. I was doing the private play test.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but they still had 4th edition books already in the pipeline coming out, but they already announced it was a dead product.
Because 4th edition was crap.
Yeah.
It really was, unfortunately. But we're not here to make fun of that. I'm sorry. So
yeah, well, yeah.
So next thing, you had something about Mr. Perkins.
Yeah, he did a little DM tips with Chris Perkins, which listening to him, I'm like, oh, so he basically DMs the same way we do because it was the exact same answers we would give. So
he's a former 1E player, and he used to listen to our show at one point. Jason and I actually spoke with him at Gen Con 2011, so I don't know if you were there, Nick, but you said you can't remember that, so I'm assuming you probably weren't there.
At Gen Con 2011?
Yeah.
I don't believe I was. I stopped going to Gen Con in 06, 07.
And I think, Matt, you might have been there.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that because I never actually go into the WotC room at Gen Con. So, yeah, because I met up with you guys, but I didn't actually meet Perkins with you guys.
In 2010 and 11, they actually had a whole big push for like the old editions when the books were coming out and everything.
Right.
So they actually had a whole room set up in there for AD&D, OD&D, things like that.
When they were doing Tower of Gygax.
That's when they were doing the premium edition reprints, right?
Yeah, the ones that look...
Oh, yeah. I remember all that.
They look awful. It's blurry, and I hate them. Sorry.
I have them on my shelf.
I know they're nice looking on the outside, but every time I look at the pages in there, I could tell that they're not the same as the pages.
Yeah, because they couldn't get like access to the original graphic design, so they just had to like kind of make an approximation of it.
Well, they PDF'd everything and then they bound it essentially.
Yeah. I could tell when someone's sitting across the table from me, because I have a buddy that has a book that he made a special cover for that I can't see the outside. Every time I see him open it, I can look at it compared to my book and be like, yeah, that's a reprint.
Yeah, because the reprint, the paper quality is different. It's glossy paper. It's not regular pulp.
And the font looks blurry to me for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, because they couldn't find the original font.
Yeah.
So
they just blurred the font and made it think like it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you could do a whole little section on how they got Random House back in the day to do it, which was a hell of a coup.
Ugh. Yeah.
I had wished with those reprints that I pre-ordered the OD&D box set, and then I ended up canceling it because I was like, I don't need this. But that thing is now like $300 unopened.
Yeah, that one actually, appreciated in value because it was actually done well.
Yeah.
Way to go, Crispy. Way to go.
Yeah, I messed up.
Yep.
Again.
There went your retirement fund.
Yeah. You let down all the save or die maniacs.
If $300 is your retirement fund, you need to do a real good self-evaluation.
I'm retiring to Mexico, where I will live like a king.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Chris Perkins.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And the other thing I noticed, and this could also be self-selecting due to the type of panel it was, lots of new players. It's like, I've been playing D&D for like a year. I've been playing D&D for 6 months.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because Chris Perkins does the Penny Arcade. So he does the Penny Arcade D&D game. He also does Dice Camera Action, which
I was going to say, isn't it Dice Camera Action?
Yeah, with a bunch of like video game YouTubers. Like there's some dudes from like Normal Boots, which is a big like Let's Play and video game review thing. One of the Game Grumps' wife is on that show. There's a couple other things as well. So like,
yeah, there's Matt Mercer's Critical Role.
Yeah. Which but I'm going
Chris
to have.
Perkins is like DM to the stars.
Yeah,
so it makes sense that a lot of these newer people.
Dungeon Master to the stars.
Yeah, he pretty much is.
Yeah,
and I will have to admit, before Origins, I knew a Critical Role, but I had no idea who Matt Mercer was.
I've kind of watched them here and there. They're not the greatest in the world.
I tried watching the first one and just like not for me.
No, I can't sit in front of the computer for 4.5 hours and watch this thing. It's like, no.
Right.
Yeah, I have a buddy who's super into Critical Role, and I've seen like highlights, but I've never seen an actual episode. The highlights are good, like, little bite-sized chunks of all the good bits.
Yeah, right. I think the best actual play is one that's edited down, so you weed out all the dead air, the rule stuff, and just get the story.
What's funny is they released Critical Role as an audio podcast, but just left it as the entire thing of 4 hours, and they just made it into a podcast.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah,
it's way too
something
much.
to have on in the background at work.
It's not that good, but okay.
Yeah.
Upcoming.
If you don't want to listen to people at work, then it's great.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's how I would treat it.
I'd rather listen to Savored How Crispy. So
yeah,
same
thanks,
here.
man.
I heard that's a good show.
Yeah,
good looking out.
As
long as I take, my anti-nauseous medication.
Ooh. Or I would listen to that or Thaco's Hammer if I really wanted to listen to something. So
there you go. So shameless plug.
Glenn and Friends, ThatGoesHammer.info.
Yeah.
Upcoming releases you found out about, Matt?
Yeah, the Tomb of Annihilation, which we've all heard about. And basically what they're doing is they're just taking their old IP and putting a new spin on it to get you to... That way, you got the history for the longtime players, and then you also have the great settings and everything they already have. So Tomb of Annihilation is basically a combination of like Tomb of Horrors and Dwellers of the Forbidden City. So you're getting that lost world. They're going to be dinosaurs, and there's going to be rules for dinosaur racing.
Oh, jeez.
And there's going to be
take my $50.
And there's an undead Tyrannosaurus Rex that spits out other dinosaurs or zombies out of its mouth.
Yo, how are you guys not more excited about this? This is...
Yeah, you lost me at dinosaur racing.
Because I automatically see this becoming a total Munchkin thing, so...
Yeah, but here's the thing. You get to race dinosaurs?
Yeah.
You know, and here's the thing. I can understand if this would be like a product if it was kind of like it was meant to be over the top like that. Like, if you remember when I did Anomalous Subsurface Environment, that mega dungeon where it's supposed to be gonzo over the top.
Yeah, yeah.
This sounds like it's supposed to be serious.
Yeah.
You mean Blackstone did it, not you.
That guy. Yeah.
Completely different person.
You can also now have flying monkeys as your familiars.
Now, this sounds like it's going to be like, you know, this is going to be a real serious, like, you know, adventure. Yeah, we're going to have a dinosaur that's undead. And it's going to shoot undead dinosaurs out of its mouth. How can you take that seriously?
You can't.
Right.
No, you can't.
No.
That's why
it's hard to take it seriously.
If they put it over as something as like it's supposed to be gonzo, over the top, weird, you know, I could go with that, but
they're going for the Lost World vibe because it's set in Chult.
Lost World, but with like
okay.
Anyway,
let's move on. Gen Con coming up.
Yep, Gen Con, the big 50. They are doing a ton of retrospective panels. They're even doing a recreation of the Horticultural Hall in Lucas Oil Stadium to the actual. It's actually putting a museum of like early manuscripts of D&D and all these historical artifacts in there. This museum will be in the exact layout of the Horticultural Hall in Lake Geneva, in the exact same size and everything. They even made the front facade of the building as the entrance.
What's the estimated attendance for Gen Con this year? Is it 60, 70,000 again?
If I were to guess, I'm saying 70. Because the last 2 years they've had around 60-ish thousand unique, and that's been flat. For them to actually start selling out, it would have to be a massive jump over that. Because the sellout, from what I'm gathering, isn't due to fire code. It's due to staffing. And that they don't think they have enough staff to handle more than this amount of people.
Yeah.
I've also been hearing that there's been some fallout from Gen Con, people going to Origins more now.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because of how big it's gotten, how they've treated their staff, and how the staff treats you.
Well, the staff rules are now changing too because Emerald City Comic Con got sued over their volunteers. Gen Con no longer. Yes, they said the volunteers said we were treated like employees. We should be paid like employees. We want hourly pay, and it was a big deal. And they won. Gen Con. There are no longer volunteers for Gen Con. You are working.
They're all paid.
They're paid by the hour.
Nice.
Really?
Like $10 an hour or something like that. In a lot of places.
So you're no longer a quote unquote volunteer. You're an employee.
Right, or a independent contractor or something like that.
A 1099 worker, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly. You get tax for them. And it's like some of the game companies for like the people that are doing demos. There was one company, they were paying people, if you were willing to run their games for 16 hours over the course of the con, they will comp you your badge and give you $100 a day in pay.
Sign me up.
I know.
They were doing that a while back. You can get your badge comped, plus you got money for everybody that signed up for your game. Because I remember I did that one year, and I got a free badge. And
where was that at?
Gen Con.
Yeah, like if you run games at Gen Con, the GMs get a cut because Gen Con gets the first $2.
Yeah.
Everything after that, it goes to the GM.
I remember I got a check for like $30. I was like, where? I didn't even know I was getting it. It just came in the mail one day. I'm like, what the heck is this? $30. Oh, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why everything's like ticketed, and a lot of RPGs will be ticket for $4 because 2 goes to Gen Con, 2 goes to the GM. But these are actually like the game publishers themselves want people to run games in like their booths or their demo area, and they're paying money to get it because, especially considering the attendance is so big, they're like, oh, we need more staff. So yeah, but with that, it's you get paid now, and in some ways it's better, in some ways it's worse. Because you're not getting like, instead of being able to pay you in free product and things, they have to pay you in cash. Which the cash value you're getting paid, the manufacturer's suggested price of the product would probably outweigh the actual cash you're getting.
Oh, before I forget, when you go into Origins, check-in system much better this year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I had to go to the press room, which involved me walking in the door. Hi, I'm with Roll for Initiative. Here's your badge. So,
the automated system for Origins.
Oh yeah, the kiosks.
Yeah, I was in and out of there 2 minutes. Done.
We'll have to do. We finally have to do 1 year that we're all there at Origin, so we can all do a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. If this kiosk system is like this next year, I mean, the lines were virtually non-existent the whole convention. There were some long lines, obviously, for people who aren't pre-registered. But if you were pre-registered, already had a badge in some fashion, man, you were in and out of there just a couple of minutes. They did a fantastic job.
Yeah. Yeah. And at Gen Con this year, they're doing a lot of history panels. They have like 20-some panels, and they've just got everyone who's anyone in the gaming industry basically talking about the history of Gen Con and the history of gaming.
I want to go now.
Yeah. I saw the list. I'm like, I would love to go to all of these, but I could just sit in the panels all day and never actually see the con if I did it. I think some of them are being recorded. I don't know how I've seen Peter Atkinson mention on Facebook, this panel is going to be recorded and this panel is going to be recorded. I don't know how he's releasing them, but they are being recorded. YouTube. Hopefully.
It's funny because these panels are exactly the ones that they pretty much do at North Texas. So, and those are broadcast via the web every year.
Yeah, with this whole idea is actually John Peterson's, because he a couple of years ago talked to Peter Atkinson at Gen Con. It was like, so for the 50th Gen Con's coming up, got anything planned? And Peter kind of just stared at him blankly because he didn't have anything special planned. And John was like, I got this. So that's how it all got set up. So I'm doing a few panels that'll talk history, which is like Tim Kask and Frank Menser, Luke Gygax, Steve Winter, Harold Johnson, Merle Rasmussen, Tom Wham. So it'll be cool to hear them talk the history and everything. So and I'll come back with a full report. So
and recordings.
Yes, and recordings. I also will be sitting down and getting to talk to Rick Loomis of Flying Buffalo, and getting to talk to him for a little bit.
Flying Buffalo, there you go.
Yep, some Tunnels and Trolls. So get some.
There you go.
Old school
and Grimtooths.
Yep, and Grimtooths. So get to talk to him for a little bit. So that'll be fun.
So what's this on the bottom here about Gen Con proclaiming themselves as in the past? That whole sentence you have there? Premier Wargaming Convention?
Oh, yeah, because before 1974, RPGs didn't exist, and Gen Con's older than RPGs.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So basically, they're talking about the one panel is going to be about that transition from war games to RPGs.
Oh, yeah. There was some friction between those two communities, to say the least.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, even with Origins, too, because Origins kept the wargaming for a lot longer, but but you can even tell that's dropped off, the historical wargaming and stuff, compared to what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Origins because it has a real good mix of everything.
Yeah.
If you want to do wargaming, board gaming, card collecting games, whatever you want to do, there's something there for everybody. That's why I think I like going there so much.
Cool.
And it's close by.
All righty. Let's move on here. iTunes reviews. Stars. Nick.
Yes, sir. iTunes reviews. So if you want to give us a review on a show or our current one or previous shows, go on to iTunes and type in search, roll for initiative, and I'll follow the links there and you can give us a review. Good or bad, we'll read it. We prefer good ones, but hey, we'll read whatever comes our way. And maybe we'll take your suggestions into consideration, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Our first one is from the Speed Force reviewed this, and it says, "Great show, 5 stars. I enjoy Old School and all the shows that Wild Gaming Productions produces. Thanks, guys." So thank you very much there. And we got another one from Emalahau. I think that's how it's pronounced. And one of the 3 must-listen D&D podcasts, 5 stars. So it says, "I have tried so many different podcasts for information. This is one of the top 3 I've heard, along with Roll to Hit and Adventure Zone. Ton of work goes into production. And the same amount of content and history and technical guidance for about D&D First Edition. And even if you play 5th or 3.5 or pure old school, you should listen. You gets back to the roots of gaming that I love, and just talk about how it's a throwback to the childhood days. Gets a little bit about talking about rolling up their first character, who was a ranger, listening to Rush and eating Cajun spice ruffles.
Why don't those exist anymore?
I know, those were awesome.
Awesome.
And of course, you're a gamer. You listen to Rush, right? I mean, that goes without saying. So thank you so much, Emalahau. And we got another one said by Shauser144, another 5-star review, and said revived my interest in AD&D. Said I am a preteen, early 80s, and loved the game when I, like much of your listeners, lost touch in college, grad school, picked it up again most recently. I bought some of the later edition books, but was put off by the feats, surges, and healing stuff. So yeah, I totally get that. Found on eBay first edition AD&D books, because I guess when they were a kid, my mom loaned them to her friend's son while I was away at college, and my full set never returned. So we've heard similar stories like that, some people in the past, they think our podcast is excellent. Enjoy getting back to the game I love, and your podcast has helped me expand my engagement with the game. Thanks for dedication to best version. P.S. Why roll for a magic missile to hit? I'll do that after I, quote unquote, surge away my injuries. And our last one is by Angela, and says, "Love this podcast. There's no better podcast for 1E DM to listen to while you're painting miniatures." Cool. Okay. Someone's still painting miniatures. I dig that. These guys are pretty knowledgeable, and they touch on stuff that's useful to anyone running the game. I got a few decent ideas or starts for them and hope to keep putting stuff out. So thank you, Angela. Another 5-star review. So lots of 5-star reviews, and getting a lot of stuff from at least past few, like people who've been out of touch for the game. And I guess just going through looking for podcasts either on YouTube or iTunes, and they come upon us and they're like, hey, the game is still alive. So we're glad that we've renewed your interest in first edition AD&D, and hope you continue on. So that's fantastic. And that's all of our reviews for this time.
222 reviews on iTunes, 4.5 stars.
That's amazing. That's terrific. It's huge. 4.5 stars. Going to shoot for 5.
Yeah, right. I don't think it's possible to even get 5 at this point, because if you get a couple 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s around the road, it can only go to, I think, a quarter star, something like that.
Quarter star?
3/4 star, excuse me.
3/4. Well, 4.5 stars. That's great.
Yeah, it is. For a 6-year-old, 7-year-old.
Yeah.
What are we up to, 8 years now?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Matt,
it was like the very end of 2009.
So it'll be 8 years this December. Wow. 8 years this December? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
because it
God.
was like the tail end of 2009. That's
Yeah, so 2009 would be 10 years. So
Wow.
cool.
That's amazing.
We also going to drop a link in the show notes. Oh, thank you everyone that did the reviews. Appreciate that, and
Yes.
look forward to more reviews. Moving on, we're going to drop a link in the show notes for a new video that we found on by Amy Vorpal, the DM's Lament. It's a great music video by her, song by her via the Saving Throw show. The reason we're pointing it out because the song is great, but it also features a lot of basic D&D and 1E stuff in there because she is a old school player herself. Along with the Saving Throw group themselves, they've done plenty of music videos and stuff. One of them was Just Give Me a D6 was one of theirs. And now this one, they have a couple other ones, but this one featured a lot of AD&D product in it, so we wanted to throw that out there and give a little segment throw out for that. So take a listen to the video and enjoy it. You'll probably really relate to it as a DM, so... What did you guys think about it?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I've only seen like a minute and a half of it.
Well, I'm sorry, Crispy.
Mostly because I hated it. It was the worst.
Real because short attention span from a millennial.
That's what it is.
Hey, man, only I get to make fun of myself for being millennial. You're very triggering right now.
Oh, I triggered him. Sorry. No, I liked it. It was really funny, and just all the little things about there being a DM and just like, oh my gosh, been there, done that,
Yeah.
Nailed it.
nailed it.
Alrighty then. So let's head into our first segment of the show. Our main lead of the show. We're going to go into some DM
What you're
rules.
listening to right now? Want to help support the show? Why not head over to the Patreon site, patreon.com/WGP. That's patreon.com/WGP. And help support the network for as little as $1.50 a month. That's right, $1.50 a month goes a long way. Thank you.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want, but I have a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
All right, folks, let's go into our meat and potatoes segment here. Roundtable talk. We're going to talk about whites and how to play, being a DM playing a white a little bit, and how they're much maligned and hated by players.
Yeah.
Much
the
so.
history of them.
A little bit of history on them, and some interesting twists and takes on the right on the white, and how it could basically spring, I want to say put some new life into your campaign, but they take away life.
No.
Okay, moving on.
Found an interesting link by the Layer blog. He had listed 10 different variant whites to spice up your campaign, change it up in case you don't like the traditional white. And we'll go over each of those as we get to it. But
yeah,
I want to start with the history of the white.
Yeah, our history department, research department there, thanks, Matt, found that the white in D&D and AD&D is based off the Barrow White, maybe from the Lord of the Rings, but even goes further than that. Comes back from William Morris's translation of the Greta Saga, where the Drog is translated as Barrow White. So.
Yeah, the Greta Saga is like an old Icelandic folklore from the 13th century. So,
Yeah, it's not as old as Beowulf, but yeah, it's an Icelandic saga, and and that's where they believe that the term wight came from, and it's a old English word for wit, used to describe a creature or living sentient being as akin to the old High German wit, meaning a creature or thing.
Give me 1 second. I actually studied Old English in college. I have a booklet like right across the room that I had out a couple days ago that actually has a glossary in it. So I'm going to be right back in just a second. I'll look into that for us.
Okay. Well, meanwhile, while he's looking that up.
Yeah, the first mention of white also was in the Lord of the Rings, Book 1, Chapter 8.
Yes.
So it has its roots there. It has its roots where Matt had found it also from William Morris's translation. So it's been around in our fantasy history for quite some time. So.
It has. Absolutely.
It's a pretty nasty creature that's, draining your levels from your characters, but, a lot of DMs feel bad about using that monster, which I don't see why, but...
Well, I think maybe why is because would you consider a mid-level range monster because of the hit dice?
A 3 hit dice undead?
Yeah, it's 4 plus 3 hit dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be mid-level because if you're low level, you could die from 1 or 2 hits.
It's not something I would throw at, a first level party. I mean, maybe.
No way.
Maybe it's to frighten them, but I wouldn't.
I would maybe if the characters were anywhere like 5th, 6th, 7th level.
Yeah.
That's where I would probably have wights in the game. Maybe 4th. Right.
It's like the thing that I've always found a pain when running them is just the bookkeeping involved when you start draining levels. I just hate that so much, and that's always been the turnoff for me when it comes to using level drains. It's not so much I don't mind draining the levels; I just don't want to do the backwards math.
I just think you have to think of it's kind of hilarious though when they level drain, you forget things.
And it's like Matt was saying with the bookkeeping. It's such a chore because if you know you're going to use whites, do you have them track how much HP they gained per level so you can just go backwards with that? Do you have them how do you do that bookkeeping?
That's a very good question. I would probably thinking about that now because if you don't, a lot of people don't keep track. I know I've never have people roll their hit points, blah, blah, blah. If you're one of those people like, oh yeah, first 5 levels or max hit points. I've seen some DMs do that. Then it's easy. Yeah, just max hit point away. Easy. I would say do a random roll, level hit dice. That's how many hit points take away.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I would be like with the player. Actually, I would probably sit with the players and say, what do you guys want to do? We can do it. That will just do the average hit points taken away per level, or we'll do the roll.
That's but if you roll, you could always roll higher than what they actually gained. Like if they gained 1 hit point this level.
You can also do the whole, okay, we're both roll, and DM rolls, player rolls, the lower of the 2 rolls, that's what you take off.
So if you think about it, the damage done by a white, besides its claw attack of 1 to 4, it does an additional X die of damage depending on the class that it's a. Imagine like, okay, a white attacks a let's just say a fighter, which was a D10 for hit points, right?
Yeah.
So you do a D4, he loses a level, and then you roll another D10 of lost hit points for losing the level. Man, that's pretty nasty. If you think about it.
It is, yeah.
And then what if then you get into like when you're talking bookkeeping stuff, what if you attack a multi-class character with a white?
Oh.
Yeah. Like, do you take it out of the level, the most recent level gained, or?
I think they all lose a level. No, I think, well, I don't know. Do each class lose a level? Or is it like the highest level of the multi-class gets
I would go the highest, just because if each class is a level, like you're getting in the essence of fairness. Like if I'm a multi-class, like cleric thief, and somebody else is just a single class fighter, and I get hit, I lose 2 levels, but they only lose 1.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very fair. I wonder if there was a sage advice on that at all.
There might have been.
There might have been. I'm going to have to research that.
But I think it's a DM fiat situation where the DM could probably say, I would maybe just roll a d6, even this class, odd that class.
Yeah. Make it totally random. I like that idea.
So, yes, kind of going, I do have my Old English book here. Wheat, was the name for creature. The modern English is white, but there are a couple other like things that it could be tied into, like Huita, which I know they don't sound that different. They are, which means punishment or torment. There's also Goetan, which means depart as well. So there's a couple different things that could go in that, with the whites being a dead thing.
Okay, well, that ties into the whole undead thing for whites, and that's fine. And along with whites, there's 2 other undead creatures that are very similar. You got the white, you got the ghost, you have the wraith. And the wraith, though, the difference between the white and the wraith is non-corporal. It's an ethereal creature.
It's a ghost white.
Well, yeah, the wraith it's tied into the negative material plane, obviously, but basically a wraith is almost a more powerful version of the white. If you look at it that way, they do have more hit dice. They do more damage. They still do the level drain, and the difference between another difference between the white and the wraith is, if I remember correctly, a white, when it hits regular humans, it'll level drain, but not to demi-humans like dwarves, elves, and gnomes. A wraith will. So if a wraith hits your favorite dwarven fighter cleric, he's going to get level drained.
No, I think from what I'm reading here, it affects anything.
Yeah, anything as far as I can remember.
Yeah, wraith will. Yeah, they'll drain.
No, the white will.
The white will too? I thought it would not. Oh, I'm thinking ghouls. They will not
ghouls,
paralyze.
Yeah, elves are immune to the paralysis of a ghoul.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of.
There's definitely a weird undead progression in D&D. It's like a very video game thing. It's like you get like zombie, and then ghoul, then ghast,
skeleton,
then white.
Zombie, ghoul, yeah,
and then ghost, wraith, and then I guess specter. Is that like a thing?
Yeah, you have a specter.
Yeah,
I would say the ghost is probably more, in my opinion, more powerful than a wraith or a specter. It is for certain, because
you can basically look at the turning rules for clerics to determine the strength comparatively of all the undead.
So, and it's weird because like the difference with ghosts is they don't level drain you. They take time off your maximum life.
Yeah.
So, what is the difference between level drain and how that affects you? I'm not like, level drain seems, because it's it's a game mechanic that you're actively using. That seems more powerful than.
So they actually have it built into the rules how many hit points they lose for a white.
Yeah.
So we were actually wrong. I mean, I've been doing it probably wrong. So the example they give: a 9th level magic user struck by a white loses 1d4 hit points and becomes an 8th level magic user. He has the spells and the hit points of a 8th level magic user, and his melee as an 8th level character of his class. So that's how
the 1 to 4 hit points is just from the actual physical attack.
Yeah,
that's true. It doesn't actually say it at all.
Yeah, right. It doesn't really it just goes, now he's 8th level. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
I was doing it right also.
Yeah, you're perfectly right with it.
Yeah, I was looking I'm like, have I been doing it wrong all this time?
No, it's like you have the hit points of an 8th level character. They just don't tell you how to get around to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Might be a question to throw at like Tim Kask or
There you
Frank
go.
Menzer. There you go, Matt, at the convention.
Yeah, be like, hey, level draining. How do you keep track of this crap?
And that's how Kask will probably answer it. Well, this crap here.
Yes. But just to go back to the aging of from the ghost though, with the ghost, aren't you supposed to actually figure out the max age of your character?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, so at that point, your DM's supposed to be whittling those off.
Oh no, actually, just the mere sight of a ghost will make you age 10 years and flee in panic for 2 to 12 turns unless you make a save.
Oh.
Yeah, but then if it hits you, it also does 10 to 20 years off of you, doesn't it?
Right.
10 to 40.
Yeah.
And 10 to 40. Okay.
Yeah, 10 to 40.
Yeah, that's where it gets bad.
Yeah, and that's where you also add in the
Within
aging rules.
60 feet of a ghost, you're subject to attack by magic jars from the ghost. So yeah, they can trap your soul.
Yeah.
So if you get hit twice by a ghost and it
You
does
can-
max
20 to 80 years of
If you're human, you're probably dead. If you're an elf, you probably don't care.
Yeah, actually, an elf, you're like, go ahead, go for it. It'll make me better.
Yeah, I would rule ghosts as being like, if you get hit 3 times by a ghost,
you're pretty much dead.
done, son.
What about we kind of missed looking at the groaning spirit? Did you think of
the banshee?
Yeah, I mean, she's
nasty.
Save or die, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not to plug Crispy Show, but
coming soon to
yes,
Wild Games Productions Network.
Yes.
Yeah, the banshee is real nasty. In fact, there's one module where there is a banshee in it. I'm trying to remember which it is. I think it's Temple of Elemental Evil. There's a banshee.
Hit dice 7 creatures, so that might be something to look into, the groaning spirit banshee, to see what she her history behind that. 'Cause that sounds like
she groans. You're within 30 feet, save or die at the spot. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
So another creature to consider there.
Yeah, another one.
All right. Well, say now you have the white. You're like, oh, well, I don't really want to use it in my campaign. It's like not cool. I don't really want to drain the levels. It's such a pain. What about variations? Well, we found a blog, like we said, The Lair, who took into account this and decided to make up his own version of like 10 different whites going. I'll read them down the list and then we can go over them.
Sure.
One does positive energy, one spell stealing, one is lunacy, which does the insanities, one is lingering, one is festering, one is disease bearer, one is depleting, one is withering, one is umbral, and one is a tumor. So
it's not a tumor. The tumor really isn't.
So the two of you are jinxed and no one can talk. There.
It's not a tumor.
Nick broke it. He owes us a beer.
I don't owe you anything.
Nick, stop.
I do have a serious question, though.
Uh-oh.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Crispy, this is your last show.
All right.
Volume 8 will be next episode.
All right, positive energy one.
That's my favorite.
That's just weird.
No, it fills you with a radiant light and then you explode.
It is kind of cool because every time it hits you, you're like, you gain hit points back as opposed to losing it. And if you go double the amount of your hit dice hit point,
you blow up.
You just boom
in a radiant light
to 1,000,000 pieces. So the players are like, oh, this is cool, man. I'm getting more hit points. And you as the DM be like, oh, you're over your max? Just keep adding it. And they'll be like, oh, all right, that's cool. And they'll start wondering. And every time they get hit.
So if you get hit by this thing, okay, let's go with our 9th level magic user example, like from D&D and the white regular one.
Yeah.
So you got hit 9 times by this thing, essentially, right? As a 9th, because that's doubling your hit dice, right? So you would blow up. Am I right on that?
If the opponent gained twice its starting HD, it explodes.
Right. So if you had a 9th level magic user, which is essentially 9 hit dice,
I think it's saying the actual hit points, though.
No, it's saying hit dice.
Well, because hit dice cap out for magic users.
True.
Oh.
Yeah, so like it caps at 17, right?
Yeah.
So you couldn't double that, but I mean, like, I think the spirit of the rule is that if you get hit 9 times,
that's how I would interpret it.
It's worded really weirdly. It's saying causes HD gain. I think he means HP gain.
Yeah, that's what I would interpret that as
too.
HP as well.
Bonus. Yeah, I think he means hit points, not hit dice.
That's how I read it, and then you confused me when you said that. I'm like, wait, isn't it hit points, not hit actual?
No, it says hit dice.
Yeah,
I think he meant hit points. I think you're right.
Double the starting. So if you start the encounter with, say, like, I don't know, 35 hit points, if you get 70, boof, you just blow into a billion pieces, chunks everywhere.
Yeah. Does the white have to hit you for 70, or does he have to just put you up to 70?
Put you up to 70.
Okay, because it says if you gain
twice your
double, which to me is like if you gain double, if you get hit for double your HP.
So if you gain 70, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing it as a whole. You keep hitting, you keep adding it, you keep adding it.
That's also how I would run it.
Yeah, that's how I would too, because I mean, you can see the way it's kind of intended, and it seems to be that instead of doing damage, it's healing hit points, but the hit points should be treated as damage. Therefore, if you get twice your starting, you're dead.
Yeah.
All right. So that's basically a DM fiat to just, which basically this whole game is DM fiat.
Yeah.
But...
Right.
That's just like
yeah.
I just like playing out this encounter in my head because it's a white, like it's a pretty scary looking creature, but this one would be like old and feeble, and it's just like pawing at the players, and like each hit makes me gain in strength. Let's just let this happen, and then the first one they just explode, and everyone else freaks out because they've spent the last half an hour just letting this thing paw at them and like.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
buff them up.
Yeah, they're like, here, let's let ourselves be groped by this white.
That's just wrong. That's just so wrong.
Make them think twice about going against whites. So
yeah,
that would.
All right, so steal spelling. Yeah, let's do it backwards. Spell stealing.
Spell stealing.
So this white, when it touches you, it drains spells.
That's nasty.
Any touch will randomly drain the highest level spell memorized. The spell drain should be determined randomly. Once the white has drained twice its hit dice in spell levels, it explodes in a 30-foot radius, doing 60.
He's really into explosions with this thing.
Yeah.
So now this is where I would think that the whole hit dice situation comes into. So if he's draining the highest level spell of a 4th level spell, that's the 4 hit dice that gets added to his. So he could, if he's going after a high level party, he can explode pretty quickly.
He could explode on the first hit.
That's why you
if
have
he hits a high
multiples
enough...
of these things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He also, when you finally, he can absorb it. So every time he absorbs it, it'd be like a D6 of damage added up until he gets to the 66 and explodes.
Right. Yeah. So if it's absorbed some spells and you kill it, it's still going to blow, but just not as much.
For example, if the white drains 1 second level spell slot and 2 first level spell slots, the damage would be 4d6 upon death. Yeah. Nice exploding. No save, apparently, because I don't see anything listed there.
They blow up real good.
Yep.
Alternatively, the white could drain the spell memorized and recast the spell the following round.
I like that.
That's pretty evil. Yeah, I like
That's what I would do. It's like, oh, fireball?
Yeah.
Lightning bolt?
Oh, what's this? Wish?
Any person that has wish memorized, better watch out.
Yes.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right. So anyway, that one's a good one to play with. Now, lunacy. Each touch from the white causes 1d4 wisdom points drained.
Mm-hmm.
If reduced to 0 wisdom, the character dies. All right, that's fine. We understand that. For each wisdom point drained, there is a 10% cumulative chance of gaining an insanity. And consult a DMG for insanity every time. So
there's a D6 roll you could do on a chart here.
Yeah, or consult a DMG. So they're saying it's a cumulative chance of insanity 10% each time. So every time a point is drained, or is it every point?
It's every point.
For each point of wisdom drained,
got it.
10% cumulative chance. So you roll 1d4, you roll 2, 20% chance. Next time, 1, now it's a 30% chance.
Is it, or is it just per attack it's cumulative? Not,
I think it might be per attack. So you can gain multiple insanities.
Yeah, it strictly goes by, for each point of wisdom. So, every time you get hit, even if you're already insane, you can go more insane.
I think this is a good point where you should break out the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles insanity charts.
Or Call of Cthulhu rules.
I was just thinking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles insanity chart.
Do the Turtles one from the original game, the one the parents took away from everybody.
But the one that they
I have that around here somewhere.
Yeah, use that chart.
I would probably use the Call of Cthulhu rules for the different types of insanities because they handle it real well.
Yeah, kind of fun there.
Yeah.
Nick, you want to take the next one for me?
Yeah, there's this next one, lingering. What do they kind of mean by this? So again, the white does 1d4 points of damage for each round thereafter. The victim's wounds continue to bleed. Basically, you're bleeding out. And he continues to take an additional 1d4 points of damage after the first round until the wound is bandaged or cure spell is cast. And multiple touches are cumulative. Basically, it's like having Vorpal Claw attack here. That's pretty nasty. So 1d4 points of damage, then you continually bleed out until you're bandaged, a heal spell, cure light wounds, whatever, or you just bleed out of your hit points until you die. I like that lingering one. That's actually kind of interesting. Then you have, I guess, a variant of that.
Yeah.
Is festering. So again, you still have your standard D4 point of damage from the claw attack, but this claw attack cannot be healed naturally at all. It has to be magically healed. So that's your festering one. So that's kind of interesting. I'd almost, you could almost combine those two. You can bleed out, and then it only could be healed by magic. But the festering one, that's a good one. I would say if you don't want to go with the regular white, but you want to have something that's a little more not as dangerous, that's a good way to go. Disease bearing. I like this one. And this one makes sense to me. Because you figure whites live in unclean, unkept conditions for the most part. So the white has various diseases inhabiting and incubating inside its body. So you have the touch, or the attack does 1d4 points of damage and 1d4 points of constitution drain. So you do constitution drain and your regular damage, and you reach 0 con, you die. It's sort of like a variant of the lunacy one, except it's with con. So also for each attack, it's a cumulative 10% chance of contracting a disease, and you consult the first edition DM's guide for the disease results. So you go to that table there. I like so far I got to say I like the idea of these, because I think the big thing that kind of that jumps out to me is you're finally getting to use tables in the DM's guide that you don't normally use. Actually putting them to good use. Like the insanity table, how often do you use that? Probably not much. The disease one, not so much. Putting them to good use here, right?
Depending on what type of DM you are.
Well, okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, sure. And I guess another one I could cover right here. This one. This one. This is the one that'll piss people off.
Yeah.
I know.
Depleting. Each drench attack drains 1d4 times 100 experience points. It drains XP.
Why not?
Yeah, but that's better than draining full levels.
Not for players. Are you kidding me? Well, levels, yes. Okay, I guess it'd be a version of that. Eventually, it could drain you down a level. But here's where it gets interesting. Excuse me. For every 100 experience points drained, the white gains what's called a cognition point. And these points are used to augment their abilities. And they can be spent freely once per round. And they fade after 1 hour. And there's you can use these cognition points to gain special abilities for the white if you don't use them. So
nasty.
1 point you could still drain additional 1d6 100 experience points. You can increase your armor class by 1, your attack bonus by 1, heal yourself 1d4 hit points. That's for 1 point. You can choose for one of those or multiple. Say if you accumulated 4 cognition points for your white. He's going to get an attack bonus, maybe the heal. And then for 2 points, you could choose next attack causes paralysis for 2d4 turns.
Yikes.
Can only be harmed by +2 magic weapons for 1 round.
Double yikes.
Double yikes. And movement increased by times by 2. You can get those. Choose one of those for 2 points. Now,
I like
3 points.
I'm imagining the white when he uses these, like, turns Super Saiyan, and you see, like, all these, like, exploding energy coming out of him, and he's like,
yes.
Ah!
Yeah, he gets bigger, gets faster.
Switches to the cutscene for transformation.
Yes.
And 3 points, let's say if you wanted to get a 1 point, and then you would say, I'm going to put 3 points into it. So there's 1 3-point cognition one you could get. Next attack, roll 2d20 and take the better of the results.
Oh, so it gets advantage.
Yes.
Or you could put all 4 of your cognition points into draining a level.
Nah, that's boring.
Yeah,
so here's my question with this, because it says they can be spent freely. If I have 3 points, can I spend 2 to, like, give myself
a 1 point and a 2 point? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, you could do that.
Or I could save them up and, like,
or you could save them up.
A bunch of different things at once on one turn.
Yes. Like, say if you had 7 points, you can get a 4, you can get a 2, and then a 1.
Mm-hmm.
You could just be so evil and be like the first couple rounds, drain those experience points, and the players are like, oh, crap, man, we got to defeat this thing. And all of a sudden, that 4th or 5th round, you're like, boom, you're paralyzed. Boom, you're paralyzed. What's that? You can't hit me now because +2 only hits me.
Yeah.
Oh, and don't forget, though, this is 1d4 times 100 experience points, and every 100 is 1 cognition point.
Oh, yeah.
1 cognition point. That could accumulate rather quickly.
Yeah.
You can get up to double-digit cognition points in a matter of a couple of rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if these were any of these were play tested, or he just kind of made them up. Because I'd love to hear what his group thought about all these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He probably heard, "You're never DMing again,
jerk."
Draining my XP. What the heck?
Crispy, grab that last couple.
Yeah.
The next one would be Withering. Each touch drains the vitality from a random body part. The affected area becomes lifeless and unusable. Touching an arm will make holding a weapon impossible. Touching a leg will knock the opponent to the prone and require that person to hop around. The Black Knight. Touching the head, however, will put the victim into a coma and require a system shock roll or con attribute check. Failure results in instant death. The DM should educate game mechanic effects. Vitality of the affected area will return after a night's rest. And then you have a D6 table.
I was just thinking about this. If this creature was translated into 5e with that, you know how many people would whine?
Oh, yeah. Instant death effect, you would not, be able to do anything. The part like the body part table on this is just a D6, so it's like there's equal chance for any of these things.
Oh yeah.
It was
so
like
you can
I would lean more
you can
towards
roll a 6 to hit the head.
Yeah. I would lean more towards using like how Top Secret has the D10 for the body parts. So
I would do a percentile.
I would do, yeah.
I would also do a percentile.
Yeah.
And leave the head at like less than 5%, maybe.
Right. Yeah, like
that way you can weight the torso a little higher and like the hand. Yeah.
Yeah, because if the head is instant death, if you like, or going into a coma and then potentially instant death, that's a lot to have the same equal weight.
Yeah, that's why I would do percentile. That way you can mix and match it how you need to for your game. Yeah. And if you really hate a player and his character, you can put like head 90%.
And another thing you could do, you could even break it down even more to more specific body parts. Instead of the arm, you could just say the hand or the foot. Yeah.
Like hand, or arm, work your way around. So that way you have...
Yeah, or, it withers your forearm or... It withers. Anyway, moving on. We're going to keep this PG.
The pool was cold.
Next, we have Umbral. The touch of this white drains color and eventually turns the victim into a shadow. So that's pretty good.
I like that.
The first touch drains all vibrant colors from the victim's body and clothes. He appears dark and dull gray. The second touch turns the victim's clothes and body into solid darkness. The third touch, they become incorporeal and immediately become a shadow. So you only get 3 hits with this one before you're out of the game.
The color drain
before
though makes
barrow white turns you into a ring wraith. Lord of the Rings.
Well, no, the first hit from this turns you into a sad troll from the Troll movie. When the trolls get sad, they lose all their color and go gray.
I thought you were talking about a troll in Central Park, but no, you're talking about did Sony Pictures make
a troll doll movie?
A troll doll movie?
Yes.
That's dumb. That's
Justin Timberlake was one of the main trolls.
I could see that.
Anyway. The final
I'm not sure how I feel about... Well, I want to kind of go with the Umbral. I'm not sure, this one's kind of dumb. It turns your clothes drab and... I don't know.
If you're doing a Rainbow Bright themed one, D&D game, draining color works.
Yeah.
Guess that would be if we're all in the land of... I've never seen Rainbow Bright. I can't make any references to that.
The land of Oz?
Yeah. It's a horse of a different color.
The land of Dairy Queen? Oh, no.
Yeah.
This is Nick's last show. Say goodbye.
God, how are you going to replace everyone except you and Matt on
it's just going to be me and Matt. The Matt show.
All right.
Fine.
I'd listen to that.
Crispy and I will do our own show. Fine.
Yeah.
Yes, and just for those that have to know, the land in Rainbow Bright is actually called Rainbow Land. They were very
no.
Yes.
That's,
moving on.
The tumor white. Each
that Matt actually Googled that.
Each touch causes a large pulsating cyst to form on the victim's body. That's real gross. The following round, the cyst bursts, dealing 1d6 damage to the player and also birthing a homunculus. The homunculus is linked to the white and attacks. God, that's awful. You just the white slaps you in the face and you get a gigantic zit. And then it bursts, and there's a little dude that also, jumps on your face and starts chilling your eyes out.
That's just, and know what I would do with all of these? I would have all 10 in one time.
I was thinking about that. If you just have a big white battle where you fight all the variant whites.
Oh,
that actually would be really interesting.
I would totally do that.
This one's pretty nasty. I actually really like the tumor white.
I do too.
For flavor wise.
Yeah.
Because you can imagine, the player character getting hit by this thing is like, oh my God, I got a giant tumor. Next round, it did what?
It bursts and it deals a D6.
Homunculus out of me? What?
Now there's a little dude. He's
ripping your face off.
He's your son, and he resents you for never going to his baseball games.
A resentful homunculus.
You could like expand this if you don't want to do like assist or something like that. You could do like a rot grub white, or like he's covered in like worms and beetles, and he hits you, and you have to save or die, as per like rot grubs.
Yeah.
Okay.
The author of this blog is also the one that did the Beast Folio, Volume 1, that we reviewed a couple issues back. Remember that, with the weird creatures that were in there? The Chaos Ooze, the Jelly, the Red-Legged Scissor Man, and the
I remember that.
Steve Morella.
Okay.
Did that, so.
Yeah, the Red-Legged Scissor Man, I remember that because the picture was disturbing.
Yes. So there's some variation on whites for your game. We'll put the link in the show notes. Matt will include it, and you can go take a look at these yourself and see how you want to apply them. Maybe they'll give you some ideas to modify for your game. Maybe
I have a whole bunch of ideas after this. Like you could just do a white, and when it hits you, another monster happens. Like that's kind of a lot of like a couple of these are like nasty. That.
Use the random encounter table. And that's what spits out.
He hits you, and a Tarrasque. Man, Nick, a Tarrasque bursts out of your chest, alien style.
Yes.
Now his blog is set up more for BX Labyrinth Lord, but you can easily just tack this on using the AEC, which we gave a review a while back. So easily this can be incorporated into 1E very easily. Okay, so there's your variation on the whites. Let's see what you think. rfistaff@gmail.com, 570-865-4210. Head over to our Facebook page, /RFI Podcast, our G Plus community, which you could find pretty easily. They're all linked to the Facebook page. Give us your feedback. Tell us what you think. Tell us how you use these in your games. Tell us how you translate them, correct them, destroy them, pick them apart. Let us know. And I guess we're going to say keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Listen to Save or Die.
We're back.
The Roll for Initiative podcast is a production of Wild Games Productions. You can visit us at rfipodcast.com or contact us on our forums at osrgaming.org, or even call us at 570-865-4210. This podcast was produced for entertainment purposes only. All other uses are prohibited. Remember, if your magic missile spell doesn't automatically hit, you're playing the wrong edition. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on Roll for Initiative.